this is about patients. It's not about providers, it's not about payers, ultimately it's not about the biopharmaceutical industry. It's about patients, because drugs are supposedly there to help patients. So the patient really should be the centerpiece. The patient should not just be the centerpiece in terms of delivering value, delivering benefits, but also should be ultimately the one you ask, how is this drug affecting you? Not just your life expectancy, we can calculate that, but how about your quality of life? And quality of life measurement depends very much on the patient. It's something that the industry is very aware of, and they're doing better jobs in terms of measuring patient-centered quality of life. But in order to really gain the full picture of a drug's value, you need to ask the patient what it's doing for them. The patient might not care at all about his or her lipid levels or other physical functioning measures. They care about, well, does it have side effects? How does it affect my ability to be an independent person, walking around and functioning normally? And does it make me feel better than it did without the drug? Does it allow me not just more years in life, but good years? So not just years in which I'm just sedentary or something like that, but years in which I'm flourishing. A lot of the cancer drugs, for instance, there are questions surrounding their effectiveness because they do have lots of awful side effects that can really deteriorate a person's quality of life. So they get a little more survival, but what kind of survival do they get? And that would center on the patient. It would center on what the patient cares about. I mentioned the upside in terms of putting the patient in a central, in a pivotal role that he or she didn't have before. The downside sometimes is the information overload. The patient has so much access to information that he or she never had before, but yet a lot of that information is not decipherable to the patient. So we call it asymmetry in information. So the physician knows a whole lot more about what to do with that information, even on a Google search, right, than a patient. A patient can pick up all kinds of information about his or her disease, but not really know what it means, yet think that they're armed with better information. Do you see? That can be a downside. I've spoken to physicians about that, where patients will come into the physician's office and they'll say, oh gosh, I'm really supposed to be taking this other drug because I saw it on TV or I saw it in some report somewhere, and I read about it. Didn't quite understand the article, but I really think I should be doing that. And the physician says, well, not really. So there is that downside to having information overload.